In Palm Beach County, there's a very high incidence of life and limb-threatening trauma, much higher than one would expect from a population of this size. And what we realized very early on was that we could not get the patients to the trauma centers in a reasonable amount of time by ground transport. So we decided that we needed a helicopter in Palm Beach County. Well, I think that what we wanted to do was not just a stopgap measure. We wanted to have something that would serve us over a period of time. And that was critical to our selecting the 412. We certainly could have gotten by with one of the smaller aircraft, but that was not the ideal. We are trying to set up an ideal trauma system in Palm Beach County.
We're providing a service not only to the citizens of Austin and Travis County, but also to the surrounding area at a time when hospitals all over the country are closing down, and they simply do not have the resources. This helicopter has proven to be a bridge between the lost resources and the resources that are available in the urban area, in the Austin area.
The real value to this institution of the helicopter program is the fact that it is essential to our outreach and rapid transportation of patients coming in here. So what we have here is needing a helicopter service just as we need a couple of MRIs, just as we need a PET scanner that we're putting in, that those are the kinds of services that our referral agencies expect of a tertiary center. We reevaluated the types of equipment we were using last year and came to the conclusion that the Bell 412 is probably the aircraft of choice for the kinds of patients we carry.
After a 18-month analysis, we found that we needed an aircraft that could provide longer-range services, handle multiple missions, multiple patients, handle IFR, single pilot, and also give us reliability and, most importantly, safety. So taking all those factors in an 18-month learning curve of finding our mission profile, we were able to evaluate and found that the Bell 412 was the aircraft that would most appropriately meet our mission profile.
There were some 20 evaluation factors involved in that process, and Bell obviously won out. We're very pleased with that fact because we know the aircraft. There's probably no aircraft on the market today that has the time that this airframe has on it. The reliability, dependability, combined with all of the aspects that we were interested in, made it a clear choice for our decision.
The first is size. We were finding out that when we were in particular responding to a trauma call or to a cardiac call, that there were more than one patient that we wanted to bring back, and with the 412 we can do that. Space, again, just being able to accommodate the incubator for the neonatal program, and a third of those twin Pratt & Whitney engines.
We narrowed it down to 3 helicopters, the S-76 Sikorsky and the Aerospatiale Dauphine, and obviously the 412, which we purchased. There was a number of things about the 412, the cabin space in there, the helicopter being quote-unquote a workhorse that everybody speaks about, but mainly was the power of it and really the speed of it, and then the cabin room. You know, working on a number of patients, our county is big, and when we get to the scene, we want to have the availability and the capability of transporting, 6 patients at a time, and that's one thing that the other helicopters just could not do.
We chose the Bell 412 specifically for the job that it can do. We go into remote areas, confined areas. We need a helicopter that's got a lot of power. We need a helicopter that has the range required for doing interhospital transfers in excess of 100 miles radius from our home base here. We also need the redundant systems on board here. the backup systems, the hydraulic and electrical systems that the Bell 412 has. The weather radar, the all-weather instrumentation on board, the avionics. These are all aspects of what we consider a safe operation. One of the other aspects is the patient comfort that's provided due to the four-bladed rotor system. We get a little bit more speed, we're able to carry more weight, and it's a smoother ride for the patient en route to the hospital.
As healthcare delivery changes, and especially today in the small rural communities and outlying areas, what we have found is that our helicopter capability is much like the elevator. It allows us access into those small communities, but the flip side of that is far more important. Those small communities begin to view us as part of their community, and it allows us transport of those patients into. And so therefore, where it really plays into the budget, it's almost like a loss leader. You're going to do well to run it at a break-even rate. However, the indirect revenue that is gained is where one should do well with a air transport type service.
Yes, surely we had our financial people look at the long-term commitment on a helicopter airframe, what its life expectancy would be and what its value would be at that end of that life expectancy, as well as the cost of everyday maintenance and support. And our finance people really did the work on that area and came up independently that the 412, although meeting our requirements, also met their requirements. Most helicopters really appreciate, and that's one of the few things that finance people in hospitals are just tickled pink to hear about, because most of the things that they finance are worth $0 in 5 years.
I went up to Canada to get pick up the 412 for accept delivery, and I was really impressed with the plant. We're instituting total quality management here in our healthcare system, and I understand that's a total quality management operation up there. And I thought that really showed. The way the factory was run, the way the employees behaved while we were there, what we could see and observe over those 2 days, made me feel much more impressed even yet with Bell.
It's been a rewarding relationship, and we're excited to be part of the Bell family here.
Minutes. They can mark the passage of time, or during a heart attack, the passage of a life. But now, through the Baptist Memorial Hospital System, valuable time and precious lives are being saved with the help of Baptist Airline, a high-tech helicopter service that is literally a flying intensive care unit. Complete with advanced equipment, drug therapy, and a medical team dedicated to buying time for people who are running out of it. Baptist Air Life. It's not a miracle, but for those we've helped live, to laugh, to cry, and love again, it's close enough. The Baptist Memorial
There's
Hospital.
nothing in the interior that prevents us from doing the medical care that we need to do, from advanced life-saving procedures like intubation to starting IVs on even the smallest child. The fact that we have enough room to do that we have within hand's reach everything that we need, it just all adds up to better patient care.
As with any aeromedical program, the number one thing is safety. And with the 412 and the access to outside visibility is tremendous. During critical times of takeoff and or landing, eyes of the crew are outside. You may even have a patient on board, but you are looking outside to ensuring that you are clear of wires, clear of obstructions, that you're not seeing anybody running up to wherever you're proposing to land. That's very, very accommodating. You just have a very, very good view from either side of the aircraft. When we sat down to design the interior, the back interior of the 412, we felt we had a lot of diversity, a lot of room to work with and set up how we wanted. The 412 provides us patient accessibility in the back for any of our mission profile, on-scene work, in our hospital work, regardless of what type of patient it may be. ATVs, unfortunately, in this area are very big, and we have at least 2 a week, it seems. So we have a very, very diverse ability. And then patient-wise, we can carry up to 3 patients in the 412, with the crew accommodating and being able to care for all 3 of those patients. It's a Mercedes. The 412 is a Mercedes for for the ride, the capability. It's very smooth. It feels very solid when you're flying. You can tell that there's a lot of machine there.
I think we're all, as flight personnel, are well trained. Most of us have a lot of in-field experience, and I think this aircraft makes it very easy to take care of 2 critically ill patients. We do it on a regular basis, and I don't feel uncomfortable about it. And I won't take 2 patients if I feel uncomfortable, but I've never felt that way in this aircraft. The lifts, the 2 platforms that the stretcher's set on, they both lift. You can put a patient in Trendelenburg that you could not do with the BK-117. We like that, particularly with traumas with low blood pressures.
Our 412 gives us the ability to transport 2 to 4 patients quickly and easily. A lot of these patients are prepared for transportation by the time we arrive on the accident scene. We do a quick hot load of the patient and perform any procedures we need in flight. The extremely roomy cabin interior allows easy access to the patient's airway for intubation, other procedures. We typically start IVs in flight, try to keep our ground times under 5 minutes on those trauma calls. The space in the 412 is just fantastic. Compared to other aircraft, there's no comparison. I'm not an aviator, I'm a professional passenger, but even I know that the Bell 412 is the most proven and time-tested airframe possible. I know the engines, the PT6 is the most reliable and experienced engine possible, available for any hospital ship. The roominess of the aircraft, its reliability, the ability to land in tight LZs and transport multiple patients while performing critical care procedures in flight are all unmatched in our 412.
And we service all of Palm Beach County, every municipality, every other fire department and EMS agency. And therefore our ship was designed as a trauma aircraft for that reason. But mixed in with that, we also do some hospital transfers, which we had to take into consideration in the design and layout of the aircraft also. And we have access to all areas of the patient. We have plenty of headroom, and we can have 3 attendants, even though we usually fly with a crew of only 2 attendants. And we generally sometimes have an observer riding with us that we can accommodate also. But it's just good access. If the action wall is accessible and within easy reach, and we like it for the roominess.
One of the really nice things about the Bell 412 is that we are able to see and have high visibility outside of the aircraft. It's a safety factor for our crew. We can assist in looking for other aircraft. In addition, we can also look out of the aircraft, and it helps us in our orientation of where we are and how far we are from where we're going.
It's great. I think it's the best helicopter in the industry for air medical transport. We looked at a lot of helicopters, and I wouldn't settle for anything less. This ship's great. It allows us to do multi-patient transports at once, and we can actually work on them, have room. We can carry more attendants as necessary, and it's powerful. It'll take off in the heat with however many people we have on board and as much equipment, and it doesn't even strain. It's a great ship to work on.
It gives you a great feeling of pride to be part of this organization. And in the public service sector, there's no way that we can do more for the public than we can with this helicopter. And for me, this is just an ideal vehicle, an ideal aircraft for our missions. I have all the room I need to carry any of the equipment that I need. I can carry up to 6 litter patients in here after I reconfigure. For any of our other missions, search, recovery missions, it's just perfect.
The Bell 412 is able to land in every tight LZ that we've asked it to. The 8 months we've been flying the aircraft, we've responded over 800 flights with our new aircraft and haven't had any occasion where we couldn't land the aircraft in the same area we landed our previous aircraft in. It's truly the hospital ship of the 90s.
Air Care and Infant Transport, Lynn.
Yes, ma'am. This is Surrey County. Is Air Care available?
Yes, ma'am, they are.
Okay, we have an on-the-scene run. The landing site number 7, the reference 81050.
Okay, stand by one. Let me go ahead and get them en route, okay?
Thank you, ma'am.
Air Care, Scene Run, Surrey County. Air Care, Scene Run, Surrey County. Okay, Amanda.
To me, an excellent all-weather aircraft. It gives an excellent ride in turbulence. To me, it's a delight to hand fly, even in the weather. And the cockpit layout, the ergonomics of the helicopter, to me, are real good. Everything is just, it seems to be right where you need it. The whole helicopter is laid out nice, and it's just a delightful IFR machine. It's a beautiful handling ship. It's very predictable. Power settings are right there. It's stable. It's rock solid.
Well, like I say, I've flown aircraft with throttles in the overhead and also in the collective. I prefer the throttles on the collective since I do have control without moving my hands away from the collective. Where in the overhead throttle quadrant, I have to release the collective and maneuver the throttles. Where here in the 412, they're right at my hand.
I think that's one advantage that Bell Helicopter has over the competitors, is they think about the pilot and the way the pilot likes his cockpit set up. Twist grip throttles to me are number one in safety because the throttles are always in my left hand right there at the collective. In the event of some likely emergency, they're right there. I don't have to reach overhead or below my seat in order to get at the throttles. The Bell 412 SP that we use on our program here is a very unique aircraft. For 22 years we used Jet Rangers and Long Rangers in an EMS capability. We selected the Bell 412 because of its size of the aircraft, proven reliability in the airframe dating back to the UH-1s that we used in Vietnam, and the Pratt & Whitney powered PT-6s that are in the aircraft for their reliability. We tested and looked at just about every helicopter that competes in its class. We found that the Bell 412 SP was the only one for the money that met our mission capability, which is be able to pick up one patient or multiple patients up from any scene, whether it be on the road or out in the woods, be able to get all the crew members, the patients, and all the equipment that we have to carry on board safely out of an area and to the hospital in a decent amount of time that's required when you're dealing with trauma victims.
But the biggest reason I looked to 412 was reliability. Pratt & Whitney engines and the airframe's well proven. You don't need to be down. Downtime is very detrimental to a program. So that was the number one reason. The second reason, which I think is very important, is the instrument capability, IFR capability of the aircraft.
And the transition was very smooth and to me very easy. It was an easy aircraft to learn. The emergency procedures were easy. And I attribute that as much to the throttles being placed on the collective as anything else. It was just an easy aircraft to fly, and it's a very enjoyable aircraft to fly. I'm very comfortable in flying this aircraft because of the fact that it's a solid built aircraft. It feels solid, it flies solid. It's got an excellent fuel system that's easy to manage. The PT-6 engines are, I feel, the most reliable in the industry. It's just a very comfortable and solid aircraft.
This program started out with a 206, we went to a 222, and now we're in the 412. And since we've been in the 412, I have not been called to a scene response where I could not land yet. We've been able to fit it every place we could fit the 222, and it's even more comfortable because the tail rotor is so high off the ground. The 412 is able to hover straight up and down, fully loaded. We don't have to worry we get called out to a scene on what kind of an LZ we're going to have. If it does turn out to be a hover hole, we know that we can handle it.
Our area is to service Dade County. We service all the municipalities within Dade County. It's owned and operated by the Dade County Fire Department, but we will work with any agency that needs us. We're ready to go at a moment's notice. One of the unique factors about our operation is that it's owned and operated by a fire department. There's very few fire departments around the country that have had the foresight to initiate a program like this. We work very well with the other agencies. I know a lot of EMS operations are run through hospitals and independent agents, and they said this couldn't be done, but it has worked very, very well. The safety in our program, our mission statement, is very, very important to us. We have a long record of thousands of rescue missions now without an incident. We attribute it mostly to our four-man crew, a pilot, co-pilot, and the two flight medics in the back. And secondly, we attribute it to the Bell 412 and its the twin-engine capabilities. The aircraft is very powerful. It has long-range tanks on it. We can extend our mission to basically whatever we need within the 2,000 square miles that we have here in Dade County in our urban area.
We have now been operational for 8 months, and within that 8 months we have increased over fourfold in volume of flights, and each month those volumes continue to increase to this point. We have been most pleased, but the comments, whether it's from the professional community such as the physicians, nursing aspect, are extremely positive. From the lay people who have to utilize and call, very positive. And then from those patients who needed it, their feedback has been, thank you.